Hello, my name is Lexy Davis. I'm a self-discovery coach, a yoga and meditation instructor, a love enthusiast, and a really playful human being. I serve people through my business, Alive to Enjoy, and this is Heart Snuggles, a holistic wellness podcast where I invite guests to drop into their heart space through authentic conversations and compassionate intentions, all in mini cuddly episodes, hoping that you connect to your truth in the most authentic version of yourself. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to Heart Snuggles. We're so happy you're here today and hope that you're finding peace somehow in your day today. I brought a really lovely numerology specialist who did a reading for me that was fantastic, so I wanted to bring her on. So please give yourself a little intro.
Thank you, Lexy. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be here. It's just such a light little bubble that you have created. So thank you so much for having me. And yeah, oh my gosh, where to begin? I am Lauren. You can follow me, the Moonchild Mindset. That's sort of what I go by. It's this alter ego from my heart, my little big, not little even, my big Cancer heart. It was inspired by just all things that I love and want to share with everyone. And yeah, I am an intuitive numerologist. I am also an integrative health coach. I studied with IIN. So that is also something that is very, very near and dear to my heart and special to me. But yeah, I'm so grateful.
Yeah, so cool. And so actually, I'm going to start off with this question what was the last random act of kindness someone did for you?
Let me sit and feel into that. Something that happened more recently was a new collaboration with this wonderful man. His name is Mark, and he works at Namaste Studios. And I just walked in to just like connect and like find new people in my area and people to work with. And he was just such a light of what I view a healer, what I view a businessman, a business person, all of the things. He was this big light to what I perceive how things should be run, with his big heart. And he took me right in. Like, he didn't even really, I told him a little shtick about me, but he was automatically like, let's do something. I want to like invite you. I can tell, I can tell you're a healer. I want you to be in this circle with me, and I want to win with you. He's like, I didn't come into this healing world for the money. I came to help others and get other people in contact with other people that can do the same, right? And it not be about this end goal, right? But with having that amazing investment support, all of that financial goodness alongside of it. So he was just all about win-win, and I just being in his presence and him just automatically accepting me without needing like the accreditation or, all the background junk. Like, he just felt my heart. He felt that I was present there, and he was so accepting and wanted me in his community. And that was really special. And I just so honor him as a boss, a leader, and yeah, so special.
I love that. And that resonates with me so much too. It's like those credentials don't really say much about you, It's like anyone can get that. So it doesn't describe who you are. And so that's just beautiful to have that beautiful connection and to find more open-hearted beings. Like, heart-centered people are just so great. So happy you had that experience. Okay, so now I want to know, how did your numerology journey start? And yeah.
So it's actually really interesting because it was never something that I really thought would be such a big part of my journey. I just was always intrigued by it, angel numbers, all of the magical stuff that comes along with these numbers. But I fell across, you actually recently had Cass O'Neill on your podcast, and she has been such a big expander for me. We were talking a little bit earlier about her, but yeah, she just has such a profound way of being and expressing. And I just knew I wanted whatever she was putting out there, I wanted to be a part of her container and learn from her. So she was doing her numerology training, a group training. And I was just like, it was during, COVID, it was during everything was shut down, all of the, I was a little bit bored trying to fill in the gaps, like, what else? I was just like, hey, like, this looks so cool. This is so interesting. Why not add another tool in my tool belt? Because I love learning. I love having other aspects to hold on to and learn from about myself. And then also how I can learn more about others. So it's just so interesting to me. So yeah, I jumped into her course, and then I just started literally from the moment I saw my chart. We started learning about our own individual charts and how we could intuitively connect to these numbers. And instantly my chart was just speaking so loudly and telling me things about myself that, you have these feelings, you have this magic in you, but it feels so much better to hear it or like see it like in front of you. So, so many tears were shed, and the group was so powerful. So I'm so grateful to Cass for holding that container for us. But yeah, it's just something inside of me. I was like, holy cow! Everyone needs this information. Everyone needs access to this. And from the moment I was finished, I was ready to start sharing with my friends, family, and whoever was willing to listen. Because, gosh, I know personally, like, I have been lit up by my own chart, and I just wanted that magic to be shared with others so badly.
Yes. Like, I had no idea what I was getting into either when you did my read, and I was like, whoa, there's so many numbers on here. Like, what do I do? But yeah, you broke it down beautifully, and it is so powerful. Like, it just gives you another thing to like help you understand yourself and to help guide you like into the future and help like ground you when you need something. It's like there's so many different anchors in your chart. Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we can go into like, if someone doesn't know what numerology is at all, and then maybe describe more of it, and then go into like what the basic of each of the 9 numbers mean.
Sure thing. Cool. Yeah. So numerology is the vibrational language of numbers. From 500 BC, like this old language, also very tangible for the human mind. I like to add numbers. We see them every day. We interact with them, whether we're calculating things or, whatever it may be. But this is such an old system. And not only is it something that was created to, find out the end goal, the numbers, the calculations and all that, but I believe that these were channeled message to Pythagoras. He received these beautiful messages from these numbers. Not only do they, create all these different calculations and all these cool collections, but they really have meaning. And that's sort of the piece that we all may have missed out on in our math school and, all the different classes that we took. So it's so old, so powerful. And yeah, so we can begin with the soul. And the soul is our heart. So literally like, little heart snuggles. And if you're tapping into your heart energy, this is that number that's like just so big and just wants to like keep beating out into the world, your soul, I'm sure that is not a unfamiliar topic in this podcast. So that is that number. This number will represent what you are here to kind of like envelop and your essence and just really like charge up the community with. And, I guess like long-term is that reconnection, that remembering on a spiritual remembering journey. So that is that soul number is so, so powerful, so important. And then you can move into your mind. This is your agenda. This is what you are trying to create in this world. Sort of what you are really like, if you think about what you're trying to create in this world, and then you hear your number, you're like, well, yeah, that is like literally what you're trying to share, what you want to give, what you want to create, what you want to make, like just all the things wrapped up in one number. That is that number. And then you move on to your sweet, sweet personality. This is more about what other people kind of see you, like the essence or the vibration that you're putting out and how people receive you. It also can be personality traits, little odds and end things here. I like to think of the personality as sort of our moon sign. That's what I link it to. I'm sure maybe other numerologists link it to other things as well, but I do like to say it's sort of that emotion maybe, or maybe that like other side of yourself that you just are showing to the world and maybe isn't so, like your sun sign is your soul, right? So then your life path, this is the number under the personality. This is our journey. This is the mission, the flow, literally the path that your soul in its contract in this life chose. So this is a big number to know. It's so potent. And I like to remind people too, we have master numbers, we have karmic numbers, and we have simplified numbers, and neither is good or bad, or like they're all so perfect and they all have their own wisdom to offer. They're so powerful in their own. The master numbers, I like to think in a more life path sense, are maybe a little bit more people that are supposed to be in that like forefront, are supposed to be like stepping out and like leading the charge and quote unquote, like being the ones that like save the world, like, or like just like have these big, big missions. And then people who have a karmic path maybe just have more of like a path that they are here to lead through their own understanding of the path, right? They're here to show others through their own, wild, crazy journey that they're on. Because sometimes the karmic paths can have a lot of layers, so maybe a little more heaviness to them. Not saying that there isn't duality in everyone's life, but the karmic paths are definitely going to be more of this like undercurrent of something is always churning and it's something to overcome and transmute and work through. And then these simplified numbers are, I believe they're so potent. And some may look and be like, oh, I only have this number. Like I don't have a master number, but I love to give the freedom when I share these charts that it's just like, oh my gosh, like your medicine, let's say it's a 9. If you have a 9 life path, you are literally here to be like the most beautiful bubble of light, and that is your medicine. In whatever you do, in whatever you create, as long as you are creating from this universal love heart space, oh my gosh, like the world needs that, right? Like, especially in a time right now. So the more we can get people tapping into their purpose, their life path, especially these more simplified numbers that are just like, oh my gosh, just being you is enough. Like, what freedom is that? Like, oh my gosh. And allow it and just be. The more we can let loose into that energy, the more magic we can create in this earth. And that's a big one that I ultimately love to share. And then we get into the juicy, you can say, sorry.
It's so good. It's so good. Keep going.
So then our power, this is my favorite number personally. I have just found a lot of alignment through this number. It's our superpower. This is our highest self. It's just juicy. It's yummy. It's sort of that energy that if we are tapped into this, it's just like that oomph energy. Just like, I am here. I'm not holding back. Or it's more so like, I understand that this is a big piece of me and I'm going to hold space for it. And know that when I'm shining in this number, in this essence, everything is in flow. Everything will be in harmony. And it really is this, I say, this straight shoot, like up your chart, because it's at the bottom. It's sort of that root number. If we're thinking chakras, it's like that base, and it just wants to like pull you up, like through all your chakras into alignment. And I think it's the key, honestly. It's one of those little secret numbers that are really, really special. And this is a soul orientation chart, by the way, and it's not actually necessarily that well known. Cass is one of the few people that are teaching it right now. And I don't know if she's actually currently hosting teachings right now, but I know that she is very much one of the few. And it was a big part of her sharing that it is sort of a dying breed because it's not very well known. We know the life paths, we know soul numbers, we know different numbers. We don't really see this like overall big chart that has like all these like nitty gritty, like beautiful pieces of ourselves. Yeah. So it's an important one. And yeah, it's not as common. So I love being someone who can share this and spread this because it's special. It's special once you find out these numbers about yourself and you're reminded of this power that you hold, especially this superpower number. And then you have additional lessons. Additional lessons are these lessons that are either from past lives or just anything that your soul chose in this life to move through. Numbers you're working with, and here to, you don't have to complete them. You don't have to, there doesn't have to be this end goal, this end achievement, right? But it is this reminder that we're not perfect, like we all have these layers under us and we're all working through something. And purely, I'm sure you heard me say this in your chart, but I truly believe that all of these charts that I look at are all angelic. We are all angelic and pure at the core. Like these numbers are so deeply like I just like it just I'm always just like stunned by them. Like it's so magical, these frequencies that we hold. And it's when we're tapping into these energies and we can just keep beaming that light. And especially in times right now, like where we can just keep learning and keep knowing that we have this light inside of us to share and standing in that light. It's so powerful. And yeah, these lessons that we're here to learn aren't bad, and they're not here to like hold us down. Like they're just something that we're like, okay, like this is something that I have to work through. And I'm not here to like say that it's going to end tomorrow. It might end in like 50 years, 20 years. It might never end. It might always be with us, but it's something to acknowledge and know in our hearts that we are moving through it. It is something that we can take care of and hold. And then our emotional challenge, I feel is something that we hold in the body. This is a number that you're just kind of more sitting with internally in your physical, and you can just always feel it kind of there. Again, it's a number that can be transmuted, can be brought into the light. But just knowing that, like, for example, a lot of people have nines. This is representative of old soul or a new soul. So you could be either or. I get a ton of old souls. I think if you have like the intrigue of like self-growth, self-awareness, like you are interested in learning, I feel like you just generally are an old soul. That's just a personal opinion. But yeah, this number really speaks a lot about self-judgment and like how we can stand in like being more gentle on ourselves and not being so hard on ourselves, because this is such a big thing in most of our lives. Like, again, that's why it's the most common, because we're so hard on ourselves. And again, if we look back at these charts at our angelic pure selves, gosh, like, would you really be so hard on that, like, sweet, sweet angel? Don't you want to cuddle her? Don't you want to hold her or him or whoever, like, whatever you feel? Don't you want to just know like you are doing your best, and also honor that everyone is doing the same and we're all on these journeys? So that's a really special one. And then we get into all the different like really funky things, and that can get really, really detailed. But a little blip is we have cycles. So your first cycles are 0 to 27 and a half, 27 and a half to 55, and then 55 and on. And these are just big times in your life where different numbers are going to be supporting you. Different numbers are going to be like, this is like, for the most part, what this time of your life is going to represent or like follow or feel like. And yeah, it's just so much yummy goodness. Like if you're thinking like this middle phase, it more so represents your career. So that middle cycle is really this career phase. So if you're really interested in like what your career is supposed to be like encompassing, like the energy that it's supposed to be bringing, yeah, that's a really cool number to have knowledge of, because then you can either be confirmed like, oh my gosh, like I am in alignment, like what I'm doing is exactly what I'm here to share. Or you can step in, and again, it's that this intuitive side with these numbers, always knowing that you have the knowledge to tap into these as well. You don't need a numerologist. We all have this gift to just feel in, what does the number want to say to you today? How does the number make you feel? Because for every person, there are these, for the most part, general feelings, just general knowledge that the numbers share. But whenever I do a reading, I feel into what the person needs to hear and what their guides want to share with them also. So I give them their little blip, their little shtick, but then sometimes their guides are like, but this is the more important piece, right? Like, this is actually what we need to be focusing on, or this is what she needs to hear. Like, and that's what needs to come through and to be shared. So yeah, so that center career phase is super cool. So again, like tapping into your own intuition and knowing like, hey, like, am I in alignment with this? Does this feel like it's calling me? Maybe it's not calling you right now. Maybe you still want to be sitting in that formative years cycle. And that is beautiful too, because these numbers are just so fluid, and we are fluid beings too. We're not meant to just be in these like time stamps. So these numbers are ready for us whenever we are ready. And just the same, you can time hack and go like 50 years forward if you want to. You can always have access to these numbers as soon or as late as you want them. And then we jump in down lower to your chart. And this will be your time hack. This gets really juicy because these are specific ages for you to know that numbers will be coming up in life. These are called life opportunities. These are numbers, again, that you can like grab if you want them. They're going to be there for the most part, kind of sitting there like, ooh, like here's a little taste, here's a little, like giving you a little dose of that number. But if you like really want it, if you have the knowledge of when this is going to be there for you, I think it's so powerful that we can be like, oof, yeah, like let's actually channel and focus my energy into this energy, into this number's energy and this essence of this number, because man, it's so potent when we can just like really go in. Like, say, if you're in a 5 time, and this is a time for you to be more adventurous, to be more wild and spontaneous, do it. Like, let's like go all in, book the flights, be wild, just be a little goofy, crazy. Don't be caged in, and yeah, allow yourself to be in that energy. Or say you're in more of this energy and you're supposed to be spending more time with family and, or creating a family or birthing a new business. It could be anything, but it's more like inward feeling with the 6. It's more peace, calm energy. So really like also sitting with that and being like, from this age to this age, like this is the number that wants to hold me. So let's let it hold me and really feel sacred about it. And then my favorite number, and there's more goodness that's tucked in there, but one of my favorite numbers is our priority life achievement. And the priority life achievement is what I believe is our deepest desire. But the most beautiful aspect of this all is not only is it what you like so crave and like so want in this life, but it's the reward from the universe. It's what you're here to receive. So it's so potent and powerful that what you crave is what you're going to receive. It's what you're going to get. It's just how quick can we get into alignment? How smooth, how at ease can we be with this journey, with this path, in flow with our numbers, in flow with our truest self, to get to this reward, to get to this achievement of ours, this deepest desire. Yeah, it's a lot of information, and I get on a tangent. So yeah, absorb all of that at your own pace, everyone.
It's amazing. Yeah. I just pulled up my chart again because I was like, what are my numbers? Because I forgot because there's so many. But yeah, it's just so cool, like how much you, like you said, like you just explained a ton of different areas and different numbers that you can go to. And it's like when you're in a certain
Mhm.
time, you can go back to that and be like, okay, what am I learning right now? What am I supposed to be embodying right now? Like, what can I, come back to? And that's what I really like it for, is that like that sense of almost like rooting and grounding and just truth of like, because it can be hard in this life to like remember, we get so swirled up. So like having these numbers is just like a great anchor to bring you back home to yourself.
Mm, absolutely, exactly. Yeah, it is that root. And I think that little power number is honestly that secret because it can ground us so deeply. For example, mine's a 3. So this is creativity. This is expression. This is really potent energy in that sense. I am a musician. I love just creating and making things beautiful. And it's just something really big for me. And I know that when I'm doing those things, I feel very grounded. It's whether I'm making the time and, getting in those hard spaces where it's like, let's step into this energy. Let's own it. And we know that once we're in it, it will take us to that root chakra. It will bring us back to that place if we feel like we've been up in the upper chakras for too long.
Hmm. Yes, and um, I have only one master number, but it's in my chart 3 times. So will you explain master numbers a little bit, and then like the concept of like you keep them a master number, or is it also the number that it makes? You know what I'm saying? So I have a 11 a lot, or master number 11. I don't know how to say it, but yeah.
Yeah. So the 11 over 2, this is all of the 11 is everything that the 2 encompasses. But then we have the 11 magic that turns on. So the 2 is service, it is empathy, it wants to give love. I always tell people it is like the golden retriever puppy of all the numbers. Like it just wants to snuggle you and literally like we talk about Lexy's chart, like literally big like hard snuggles. Like of course, like this is the most beautiful podcast for this because yeah, it's like you are like literally like this sweet puppy and the heart snuggles are so real. I can so feel them. And oh yeah, that 2 energy, you're just beaming that. And then you have this undercurrent, this beautiful, beautiful bubbling magic that the 11 creates. And the 11 is divine intuition and it is creative genius. And it is really meant to have a big impact, to really share something that has that, this like service aspect of the 2, but it's this impact of like love and like, yeah, like let's just like share all of this magic that the 2 has, but like make it big. And like also this centering with our trusting our intuition back to that energy. It's so powerful.
So cool. And will you explain like maybe two of the other master numbers?
Yeah. So we have 22 over 4 and 33 over 6 also, but they can keep going. They are kind of endless. The just double numbers are so powerful. And as we know with angel numbers, triple numbers, quadruple numbers, it's just the more the number is represented, the more powerful the energy, right? So yeah, these anything that is a master number is these double numbers and then whatever number would go underneath. So I've had some pretty big ones, and I'm just like, wow, like this is a lot of energy. Like, how are you like holding all this? I also like to check in on my people because that can be heavy too. But at the same time, it's just like there's so much light and magic that is held in those numbers and just honoring them. So 22 over 4 has all the energy of the 4. The 4 is grounded. The 4 is sort of this hard worker. It's a little more meticulous. It likes to get things done. It's very much a big one that's very connected to something greater. When it's tapped into that energy, it's just in that ultra grounded zone. It's kind of that meditative state. I like to say that number that kind of just like comes back in and stables you. But sometimes it can get a little chaotic because it just wants to do its best and, all that energy. But then with the 22, there's this magic that arises. So there is the 2, the two double twos, which can be service energy for sure. Also here to have big reach. And then the two is really this energy of, you know, working with others and being of service in others in that aspect, especially in this grounded energy. It is here to make the big impact. It is here to really serve a community because it has this service side too as well. So it's a very big service number, but it also has very grounded energy. So whereas the 2 might just be a little like floaty and a little more playful, the 22 is going to be a little more, I would say like more in the mind, if that makes sense, like more closed off maybe sometimes because they're just a little more like inquisitive and just kind of want to be by themselves, more alone. And then we have the 33/6. So the 6 is peace, balance, harmony. It's so sweet. It's a family number. We like to say that the 6 looks like it's pregnant, but with love. So it's so cute. But it can also mean like really pregnant too for some people. And yeah, the 6, gosh, I want to see if there's anything that wants to come through specifically today. So it's definitely this harmonious number. It really wants to bring balance to the collective. It's one of those numbers that when it steps into this energy, people feel that balance. People want to kind of gravitate towards these people, I feel, because people want balance, whether they're creating it in their life or not. They're just like, help me to these kinds of people. And then the 33 has the aspects of the 3, which we can be like a little more creative, a little more like coloring outside the lines, a little spontaneous. But the 33 is like actually, since, you know, the bigger the number gets, the bigger they are here to serve, honestly. And especially if this was life path, this is big deals. So this is also with that service number with the 6. The 6 also is here to serve. So again, we have these linking numbers that are very of service. All of these numbers are like, how do I serve? How can I help the community? And these are why when we see these in a life path, I'm like, you will be one of those people that is kind of leading the charge or bringing people together or creating these big bubble communities or being like a Mother Teresa or being a Martin Luther King, like being these big faces that have these big things to say and big important messages. And the 33 is one of those big important messages. But then it has just this balancing aspect, which is so beautiful and harmonious and yeah, so good. And it just goes on and on and on. And
yeah, it's so amazing. And I see numbers all the time. Like angel numbers are with me like every day, all day. It's so fun. And so does each of the angel numbers mean something, or is it just like a sign of something? Well, obviously they mean something to you, you know the numbers. To me, I'm just like, oh, cool affirmation. But I guess I'd like more clarity on like what each of the numbers are.
yeah. So one thing that Cass made clear to us was it is this big piece of intuition with these numbers, because if we can all just like, okay, we see the angel numbers, if we sit with them for a second and listen, like, what is this number trying to say? Or if we do know the meaning of the 1, which may be like standing in your power, but then it's like also double 11. So 11 would be like just like intuition, tapping into your intuition, or like maybe tapping into your more creative side because it's creative genius. It gets those juices flowing. So you can tap in, you can really listen like, okay, am I living in alignment right now? Like if everything feels good and you're just like in it, it's just like a confirmation. It's just like, yeah, keep spinning, keep doing that. And then if you're tapping in and it doesn't feel in alignment, then it's a step to be like, it's an invitation to be like, okay, like I need to be tapping into my intuition more, or I need to be stepping into my creative side, this little more bubbly, like on the go side. So yeah.
I was saying that a number that I don't know if you know the answer to this, but the number I see a lot recently is 69.
Yeah. Well, I can sit with that. I'm going to sit with that for a minute for you because because for everyone it's going to mean something totally different. So the first thing that came through was that you are creating and you have created something that is such a container for people to feel this balance, this harmony, or to feel at least at peace in their heart when they are in your space. And then with the 9, it's this universal love. It's this like beaming bubble that gives love. It's also meant for like this self-love reflection also. So something that feels like, it's just this combination of these energies of like peace and love and just enveloping yourself in these and knowing that you are also this container is what I was getting. Yeah, it's speaking so clearly that you are held and you are holding because the 9 is like kind of like this give and receiving of love.
Mm.
So knowing that, like when you see that, listen to in the moment what it wants to say to you, but definitely right now, like it's sharing that you are totally this energy and like, oh, just beaming the love back to you because so grateful that you are holding this frequency. That is a frequency without a doubt.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you. And one more question is, have you gained that, like you're very intuitive and connected. So how have you strengthened that in yourself?
Trust is like the biggest thing. It's taken me so long. And up until like last year was probably when I like was still trying to cultivate it. I'm still learning. I'm still trying to see how I can strengthen it more. Especially with the clairs. Like I know that I am not at this point clairaudient and I'm not clair is it sentient that can see?
I think so.
I believe so. So I know as of now I cannot see things and I cannot hear things like audio, what is it? Audically? Audibly?
Auditory?
Audibly. Oh my
I
God.
don't know.
Yeah. So that is something that I don't do at this point, but I do have cognizance and the feeling, which might be sentience actually. I always get my
Clairvoyant?
Oh no, clairvoyant is the one that can see, I
Okay.
think. Yeah. So sentient is the feeling. So I can feel and I have this deep knowing. And that those two are kind of more difficult to trust in. And it's just something to really like just keep like feeling into. And 9 times out of 10, like the more you trust, you just start noticing like what you were feeling or what you were like what just like popped in your brain like was truth in that moment or and it's never like I had a conversation with someone who had fear about like future telling like say like tarot or something and I don't read tarot in a future sense. I read it in the now sense and that's how I also read in like when a knowing comes forward or if I feel something come forward. It's all about the now knowing. It's never like this is the future, this is what's going to happen. It's very much like this is what I can feel now, this is what I know now. And it's always open to change, it's always subject to change, but because we are very human and we are always changing and flowing and yeah, it's so perfect. But yeah, I have been practicing, and one of those things that I do to practice that is actually using my pendulum because I recently got trained in Reiki. So that is also something that I've been having to trust and like, with like where I can tell where people are off in their body energetically. And the pendulum is the perfect way because literally anytime I'm like, okay, like this, I like kind of put it out loud. I'm like, this is where I feel it. And then every single time that I do the pendulum over top, it's almost like maybe one spot I didn't feel it in. And it's like those 2 spots that I felt it more strongly. It was like a big confirmation. The pendulum's like, yeah, like that's correct. So pendulums are beautiful ways to also tap into your guides and, confirm with what you're feeling, or what you're feeling come up in your mind is truth.
Mm. Cool. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for being on here and sharing your beautiful magic. If someone wants to work with you, what are you offering? How can they find you?
Yeah, so I recently took my numerology off donations. It was just a recent call that felt really good to me. But yeah, I am offering my numerology readings. I do personal year readings also, which are really fun. It's sort of cool to like look at where you are right now and then like see what's already happened and like what's to come, or like to start your year off with one is a beautiful way to start. And just like kind of like, again, it's not like fortune telling at all. It's more just like the energy that will be kind of present for you around that time. It's not saying anything specific is going to happen because everything is subject to change. We also are time hackers and time leapers and all the beautiful things. So yeah, nothing is like really constant, or like, I guess, like, what would you say? Like
Concrete.
concrete. Yeah. With these things. But yeah, personal years are just super fun, and they're just so curious. And I offer those for $55. And then the soul orientation chart is the big, big, beautiful one. I also do partner readings for both of those as well. If you're interested in business partner, life partner, all of the things, whoever you feel called to like see like what magic you were here to like create with them, or the special connection you guys have together. Yeah, it's just a really cool thing to tap into and see how that relationship and that partnership is working. So that's really cool. I am doing free Reiki right now because it's practice time, because you got to increase the energetic frequencies before you can put any, I guess, financial price tag on it. So yeah, so also offering that. And then I also do one-on-one coaching, also 6-month programs. And those links are in my bio as well.
Beautiful. Highly, highly recommend working with her. She's a divine goddess. So thank you again for sharing your light. And I'm so grateful for all the things you're offering to the world.
Thank you so much.